welcome back. I am Jenny. This is my channel, Stitching Jenny, and today is June 3rd, 2024, and this is Flosstube number 17. Welcome back. It's been probably almost 2 months since I've been on. It's been kind of a crazy time. We moved my daughter back home from college, and kind of all that. We had our anniversary. Actually, that same day, our anniversary was spent moving her home. And then, just the crazy that is May and the end of school and all the celebrations and activities and things like that. It's been just kind of a long time since I've been able to have time to get on into film. I had planned to do it 2 weeks ago, and I got called back into work to help with the 6th grade graduation, and it just kept things like that. Every time I'd start gathering things, and then something would come up. So it's finally June. I had my last day of work was the Friday before Memorial Day. Let's see. So this is my second week of summer break. Let's see. So my last school day was February, or not February. That'd be great. It was Friday, May 24th, and the kids were only there for like an hour and a half. Really strange, but just long enough for them to come in, say goodbye, get signatures in their yearbooks, and then leave. So kind of just a really kind of strange day. And then we had a faculty lunch that we were able to have all together and say goodbye to those who were leaving. And anyway, it was really emotional. A couple of my favorite specialty teachers that I eat lunch with every day, they're leaving, and just kind of sad. But I feel like we had fewer people leaving this year than in years past, and we are getting a new principal next year, so that should be an adventure. I've met her, and so far I think she'll be great. So fingers crossed that that's what happens. But I'm very excited for the summer. I have many plans to be able to finish some projects, like sewing projects and things like that. So very excited. So since it's been 2 months, I have a lot to show you. So let's just dive right in. Let's start with my fully finished items. We have my first one. It was a gift for one of my best friends from high school. She had her 3rd baby. I have made her a birth sampler for all of them. And so I was able to go up and visit her while she was visiting her parents. And I say home because that's where we went to high school. So like home. She was home. And so I was able to go up, see her baby, hold him, and give her her birth sampler. This is called Space Sampler. And it is on 32 count Dove Lugana, and it's by KristyPatterns on Etsy, and this is how that turned out. I had planned on doing like a quick video, and time just kind of got away from me for that. I wanted to kind of show you a little up close, but a picture is just gonna have to do. So the next finish I have is called Peace on Earth. All is Calm, because Petal Pusher came out with 2 different versions of it, and I did the All is Calm version. And this is how that turned out. And I just laced it and put it in this gold frame that I found on Amazon, and it is on, let's see, 32 count Weeks garnet linen, and This is a very loose weave, so I had a really hard time finding a sparkly gold that would actually work for it. I finally was able to get petite treasure braid and it worked really well, but in the centers of the flowers were supposed to be I think it was a French knot, like French knots, and they weren't going to work on this, and so I ended up doing a spear and a cross instead because of the fabric was really kind of what it came down to, was the fabric just wasn't going to allow for it. So this is with all the called for flosses. I know at some point something over here is off, but I couldn't ever figure out what. So it just kind of stayed off and I was okay with that. I know putting in like some of these like flowers and things, the gold flowers, like I was like, this is not lining up right, but I could never figure out where my issue was, and so I just left it. And even if I had found it, I probably wouldn't have fixed it because I'm a make it do kind of person. So that's my fully finished. So let's see. Next, trying to put it down so that it doesn't get scratched. Because like my sister said, that's the kind of frame you don't want to ever get scratched. Okay, so let's move on to some finishes that I've had. I was able to finish I'm Enough by Emily Call, right? Yeah, Emily Call. Guys, my brain gets so full of people names from working at a school, and being an aide, I work with all the students in the school, and so I think I know, and then I say it, and then it's not right. So I just always feel bad because my brain is just so overwhelmed with names that I can't ever remember them. But this is I'm Enough, and this is how it turned out. And I love this piece. It speaks to my soul, and I am trying to decide if I want to finish it as a flat folds or a pillow. I think I'm leaning towards a flat fold, like a fancy flat fold, because it will go in my room, and I think it would be easier to display it if it's a flat fold than a pillow. This is on a 40 count mystery linen from my LNS that has since closed. They would do like a grab bag. It's similar to platinum. So if I had to guess, that's probably what I would guess that it is platinum. And then it was used Gentle Arts Tropical Ocean. And this was my 6th year Stitchy anniversary start. My sister taught me how to cross stitch 6 years ago, and as a celebration of that, I started this piece. And no, I finished this piece. That's what it was. I finished it on my 6-year stitch anniversary. Anyway, I love it. I think it turned out so pretty. My next finish is the last 2 of the Jellybean Jubilee by With Thy Needle and Thread. So this is, I kind of did them opposite of each other. So there's the first one. And then, yeah, there's the next one. Okay, and I've changed both of these. So this one, it had a lighter color floss for the hop and I changed it to like the darker teal because it wasn't going to show up on my fabric. My fabric is 40 count French lace. And then this one, she's supposed to be standing on like a teacup, and the flowers, Jellybean flowers, kind of come down a little further, but I just kind of wanted her on the ground. So I kind of took it all the way across and cut off anything that fell below that teacup. I guess I could have turned it into like a hillside, but I didn't really want to. So it's easier to do flat. So that's how that one turned out. So those are done. So that was one of my older whips. Not my oldest, but my older whips. So that felt really good to get those last two done so that I could cross it off completely. And then my last finish is Hive Rules by Primrose Cottage. And this one is on 32 count white, antique white Lugana. So that's it far away. And then here's kind of a close-up of it. So I already have a finishing piece for it. My sister bought it for me and actually chalk painted it. So it's all ready to go. I just need to find the time either later this week or next week to lace it and put it on the finishing piece. So I'm really excited about that finish. That one was taking a long time because of all the color changes, and then I finally switched and started using my floss book that I made, and I think I pulled one of them. Yeah, I think, well, I'll just show you. I think this is my bag that I have so this is my floss book. And I made it for my sister originally. She likes to put all of her needles full of thread and then use tape on Ada and say what the floss symbol and color are. And so this is actually the Primrose bee one that I used for it actually. And so once I started doing this and had it that I could just switch them out faster, it went so much faster. So I would recommend that, of having some kind of way of being able to change your floss colors quickly, keeping your needles threaded. It really sped up the process for that one. And I just kept them threaded, and I might need to change the labels depending on, I know they're the same colors for all of the Primrose Cottage bees. I'm just not sure if she uses the same symbol, so I'll have to check that. But I do have at least two more patterns that I for sure will be stitching, maybe a third. There was a piece that came with the Hive Rules, and I'm not sure if I'll stitch that or not. It was a bonus project, so I haven't decided yet on that. But I have the Quaker, and I have it's the I want to be stitching something to that effect that I still need to stitch. So new starts. I had a lot of new starts. So let's pull those out, shall we? Okay, the first new start was Liberty Pennies by Hands On Design. This was a market release, and this was my 6-year anniversary new start. So I finished that I Am Enough and then started Liberty Pennies. And I am stitching this one. I have so much stuff, like I'm trying to find places around me to move it. So this one is on 32 count Zweigart's chalkboard. And this was 1 day of stitching. I love how it's starting to look. I need to get back to this. I'll probably in the end of June start rotating through all of my patriotic pieces. And then I will get back to that then. Really love it. It's stitching up really fast. So there's that one. Let's throw it over here. So then my next new start is Every Season by Tiny Modernist. So this is what each piece is a different chart. So the corners are a different chart. The frame piece with around here, that's its own chart. And then the little squares in between are another chart. So I was started on this one right here, the summer one. Put that down for a minute. And this is how that looks. This is on 32 count Sea Lily, and this I started on the last day of school, so I think I said May 24th. And this is another one that's gone really fast. Most of this was done in 2 days, and technically I've stitched on it 3 days, but the third day was just like this grass bush part. So it's going really, really fast. And my daughter made me the needle minder. It says weekend forecast cross stitch with a chance of chocolate. So love that one. And I have the spring one totally finished, and I have stitched the fall one and just need to sew it this summer. And so I might wait until this one's done and finish them together. I am finishing them as an octagon pillow. Octagon? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes, an octagon. An octagon pillow, and they turned out, the other one, the spring one, turned out really, really cute. I am also adding in a Just Another Button Company button. So on the spring one, I added a sheep button. The summer one, this center flower will be a flower button. The fall, one of the pumpkins will be a button. And then in the winter one, the snowman will be a button. So really excited to get those done. Then let's see. So then I did Java Girl Stitches, Kristy and Anna wrote, who is one of my really good friends. They have started a hashtag It Be Tuesday South, and they are encouraging you to stitch any bee piece that you have. I was actually stitching on Hive rules when Kristy announced it on her Flosstube, and I kind of laughed and was like, I'm ahead of the game. I just picked up my bee piece. And so when I finished that one, I have so many bee pieces because my husband is a beekeeper. And so it's kind of the excuse that I give myself to buy all the cute bee patterns. And so this one I got a while ago. I want to say it was a gift. It was gifted to me by Cherry Hill Stitchery, Deanna, Deanna. I apologize. Deanna from Cherry Hill Stitchery, and it is called Welcome. And this is just obviously a black and white picture of it. But I made a ton of progress on it on just the one day of stitching last week on Tuesday. So this is all, maybe this was 2 days stitching. I think this was 2 days of stitching actually. But it's all the call for colors except the black. I am using, I think it's, let's see if I have it written down. Cast iron skillet. So Gentle Arts cast iron skillet, because when it comes down to the welcome, I want it to have some variegation in it. There's not a ton, but there is a little bit. This is on 28 count raw natural linen. I don't typically stitch on 28 count anymore because I don't feel like the coverage is always super full. I like a really full, well covered piece. And but this I felt like looked really good with the finishing piece that I have that I want to use, and I'm really excited about it. I've had this finish planned, oh, probably since before COVID. Yeah. So it's been 4 years in the making. This finally gave me the kick in the pants to stitch it. I am very much a seasonal stitcher. I like to stitch on things in season and not so much out of season. And so once spring, summer kind of ends, I'm not really wanting to stitch bees. And so this is kind of what I needed to start. So thanks, Kristy. Thanks, Anna. I appreciate that. And thank you, Deanna, for the chart. She gifted it to me because I stitched one of her pieces and posted about it on my Instagram, and I had just started Flosstube, so it was like one of the first, like her second episode that I showed it. So anyway, there's that one by Cherry Hill Stitchery. Let's see, next was a new start on June 1st. So I was talking about some of the summer pieces that I had already kitted up that I wanted to get to this summer that I've had kitted for years. And Summer by Cricut Collection was one of those. So let me show you. And when I mentioned this on my last Flosstube, Belinda reached out to me and said, I just bought that chart. Do you want to stitch it together? And I said, absolutely. Another reason to start a piece and to actually keep going on it. So we had decided June 1st would be a great day, like a first day of summer kind of. I know it's not technically the first day of summer, but it was 1st of June, and I felt like that would be a great time to start it. So in the crazy of the day, we did lots of chores and errands and things like that on Saturday, so I didn't get to start it till kind of late at night, but I did start it. So this is what I have started. And it's not a pie. My kids thought it was a pie. And this is the sunflower that's in the very middle of the piece, right there in the center. And it, I have a specific finishing frame for it that I have the other pieces in. So I wanted it to fit in that. So I had to do a middle start so that I could make sure that my length fit in that frame. This is 32 count Picture This Plus Glacier. And I am trying to decide, I haven't 100% decided, but you're supposed to fill in the rest of the center with this lighter color of yellow, and so that it gives it a checkered feel. But I am actually really loving how this part right here is showing my fabric, having that pop through. So what I decided was to pause. I had started the light. You can kind of see what I'm talking about right here. And over here, I was like, ah, I just love how that looks, like with the fabric popping through. So I've decided to stitch all of my petals and then decide, but I might just leave out and take out this super light piece so that my fabric shows. And I might need to fill in some of the letters on the other side to kind of fully decide. But I think that's what I'm leaning towards, is leaving it empty. So there is, that is Summer by Cricut Collection. And this needle minder, it was a gift from my daughter. This is my logo, and she lasered that for me at work. She works in the engineering building in there, up on campus, and in kind of their, it's not called makerspace, but anyway, kind of their engineering craft shop, essentially. She would die if she heard me say that I called it the craft shop. But she made that for me. She went and found the heart, and she found flosses, and then she traced my SJ. I had tried to send her a picture, but she said it wasn't going to work. And so I was like, oh, don't worry about it. And then she surprised me, I think it was for my birthday, and had it all made up for me. So I love that needle minder. And I'm thinking about having that be one of the gifts that I give at Stitch West in the fall when I go. So I'm thinking. She said she'd be happy to do it. And then my last start, this one was an 11 o'clock at night start, because like I said, I had two new starts for June 1st, and I wanted to get a good portion in on the one that I'm stitching with Belinda, but I also wanted to start, it's Plum Street Samplers American Welcome. And there, you can kind of see what it looks like. So this was a stitch along hosted by Stitchy Linda and Deb from Snug Harbor Crafts, and they had planned to do a June 1st start. I know there were another group of people that started on Memorial Day. Yeah, Memorial Day. I get Labor Day and Memorial Day confused sometimes. So anyway, I did a bottom corner start at 11 o'clock at night, and I got kind of 3/4 of the way on this bottom. It was a line. It was a straight line. So I had to come back to it yesterday and do some more so you could actually see something other than just a blue line. So that, super interesting. And now have some waves. And this is stitched on 32 count. No, not 32 count. 32 count's my usual go-to. This one's actually 40 count. This is 40 count. Picture this plus pewter. And it has a slight gray tone to it. You can kind of see it. So maybe if I do that, you can kind of see some gray tones to it. With maybe a hint of like a blue-green color. But this one, I love patriotic pieces with gray. I think it's so complimentary of the blues, and so I really wanted to incorporate those. So these are the Color and Cotton flosses. I got the floss pack in the chart from Abby at Tot Not Stitcher. And I just, let me kind of fan it out for you. Loved how these colors look on this fabric. I felt like even the white popped. I felt like the other DMC called for colors popped out as well. But look how beautiful that is. So anyway, that's what I decided to go with. And this needle minder is a needle minder from Clay by Ken, like the one and only that I've been able to actually get. I would love one of her dragons eventually, but they're pricey now. They were not quite so expensive when I first looked at them, but they're still really hard to get. But anyway, so I finished that. So I came up this side yesterday and came across and down here and was connecting, and I was half a stitch off. And so I had to try to figure out where my half stitch off was. And there were a couple of large slubs here in the bottom. And after one of the large slubs, slubs is the thicker, so maybe you can see they're kind of those thicker fabric threads in linen. And there's usually not a ton of them, but there's sometimes a couple that are extra big. And there were a couple of extra big ones, and usually after that there's a thin one, and I just wasn't super careful and I miscounted because of that super thin one. I missed it. And anyway, but I was able to figure out where I was off, and partly because I started next to a vertical thread, and I hadn't ever realized that that was a thing until this year. But apparently with linen, if you start next to a vertical thread, and even weave, if you start next to a vertical thread, then your stitches lay nicer. It doesn't pull the fabric threads as much, and the holes are more natural in those areas. But knowing that I had started next to a vertical thread, I could see over here I was next to a vertical thread, but over here I wasn't. So I knew that I was off over here. So that made it easier for me to figure out where my half stitch was off. And I don't think that would help you if you were like a full stitch off, but in those half stitches, if you were off a half a stitch, that really made it easy to figure out why. So many things piled up. Okay. Next are my whips. So there was actually Whip Go in April, and I did participate. I think I got, 15 hours? No, not Whip Go. 24 hours of cross stitch. There was 24 hours of cross stitch. And so I pulled out some of my older pieces, and I got 15 hours in that weekend. And so here are some of the older pieces. So I have Snowman's Kiss by Dimensions. This is my oldest whip. It was the second one I started, not realizing that there are levels to cross stitch. I thought I'd be fine, and I wasn't. And I don't love stitching on the Aida. It's a super crisp Aida, and it makes that hard to pull through, and I can't stitch on it for very long, for more than a couple of hours before my fingers start to get irritated. So this is where I'm at. So let's see if I can remember. Okay, so I brought down this whole section of the Snowman scarf. I came over and added almost all of this blue and this light blue down here, trying to fill in this corner. There's only like another grouping of half stitches to kind of fill it in. It's not all the way full. Some of it is just the fabric. So that is mostly what I've worked on. And this was one of my May Whip Go. It was actually both of my May Whip Go bowls. My oldest piece, and then it itself. And so I only worked on it 2 days, so I needed to make up another 2 days. Technically, I was giving myself grace that May is crazy, and so 2 days was plenty for each Whip Go pull, and I still didn't make it. So anyway, and I think part of it is because I didn't want to stitch on snowy stuff, and so I kind of at the end just decided I can stitch on it for an hour. It will still have an hour's more progress, and if I want to put it aside after the hour, then I can. And so that second day, that's all I did, was just 1 hour on it, and then I put it away and pulled out something that I was more excited about. So, but I do love it, and I do want to make progress on it, but it's hard. It's hard to get everything in that you want. It's really kind of what it boils down to. My next piece, oh, I should have taken this out because there are some finishes on here. So while I do that, this is Arctic Animals 2 by the Little Stitcher. This is on 32 count dwarf linen. Yeah, linen. And these are going to be Christmas ornaments for my daughter. So this is what they look like. And then here is the seal. I think he was done. I just added in his whiskers. And then here is the puffin. He is the one that I finished. And then you can see I started the whale. So these are my ornaments for 1 a month, was kind of what I was trying to go for. And I'm usually a little behind, but it's okay because it's still 2 more ornaments than she would have had otherwise. But this is for my college daughter. She is a biology education major, and she loves all things animals. So those will be for her Christmas tree. And she's still trying to decide if she wants them flat or if she wants them as a pillow finish. Maybe a combination. She has not decided yet. So those are, what I'm working on for her. And she loves them. Let's see. Next I have Winter Expanse. This I started a year ago when we were in the airport before our trip to Hawaii. And this has kind of been mostly like a travel piece, or if like my husband's watching a show that I don't super love, I'll go upstairs, and the lighting upstairs isn't great, and so I like stitching on this one because it's on plastic canvas. But I am working on this one, and this is where I'm at. I am doing the white, so the tree branches coming across here, here and into the roof of the cabin. And it's white on white, so it's a little bit tricky. But I'm making good progress considering I usually only work on it at work if I'm subbing or on a car ride. So we are going to Bryce Canyon tomorrow, so I will actually be stitching on this in the car. It's an easy car piece because of the nice holes. So anyway, that will be what I work on tomorrow in the car. And I will take my welcome, my B piece. It's on 28 count, so I might be able to stitch some of it in the car, but if not, it'll be great for the hotel because I will just take my light, my neck light with me. Then I worked on the Castle Homecoming Salve by the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. And that's what this one looks like. And this is where I'm at. This is the section that I worked on right here. I finished up like the horses and the flags and some of the grass. Anyway, it was a little bit more finicky than some of the other parts were, just because everything is so tiny that I was changing colors a lot. And again, even though I have my little booklet, it was feeling tedious. And so I just kind of never got back to it. So that's finished. So I think my daughter wants me to work on the castle part right here next. So, and this is on probably 40 count. Yeah, it's 40 count for a doll that I dyed myself to look like a sky. And I think it turned out really well, to be honest. All of that. Anyway, turned out really pretty. And part of why I came back to it is I joined their new yearly sale, the Frosted Pumpkins yearly sale. And this needle minder is one of the needle minders that went with the sale. But I felt like I needed to at least work a little bit on this before it came out. And kind of, this one's for my daughter, the new one's for my other daughter. Anyway, so I had to kind of get some work on that one. And then we have Sweet Land of Liberty by again, Cherry Hill Stitchery. And again, just a little black and white photo of it. This one is not quite as far along. Let's see it there. So I decided I had been working on another piece on Memorial Day. I don't even remember what it was. What was I working on? Oh, it was the Every Season Summer. And I decided, okay, an hour before bed, I was like, fine, I will pull out a patriotic piece. I had planned to start a new piece and I just never got around to it. And so instead I pulled this out and I added the word sweet. And this I kitted it during COVID. And so some of my colors I changed because it was what I had on hand at the time. So the fabric is 32 count Graceful Gray. And then the dark green is Weeks Grasshopper, and then the blue is Michael's Navy. And so that was what was available at the time. And I think it still looks really good. But that's how that one is. This one is one of my whip go calls for this month. So it will get lots of progress, partly because of the season. So anyway, I know for sure I will reach this whip go goal because it will be something that I want to stitch on. So, okay, I also forgot one last whip. This is the Cricut Collection Sleepy Hollow. And I'm working on the, oh, it's their house. Anyway, the house that the party was at. And this is the piece. Maybe, do I need to put something behind it? Okay. And so what I worked on was the roof line. I did a lot of the roof and starting up, kind of making the way for the window. A window, there's one of the windows there. So this is, again, one of my older pieces. So I'm excited to get working on it and making some progress. So let's see. What do we have? Okay, let me show you. I did some fabric dyeing for a couple of new starts that I have planned. So this was kind of plans, but also showing you my piece. So I told my daughter, first of all, I told my daughter that if I was coming to get her on my anniversary that she owed me. And so she made me a polar bear needle minder to go with the Arctic Animal Salve by Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. That's my polar bear. And he's super cute. Stick him over there for now. But the fabric that I dyed for it, I wanted it on a different count so that it would not be so big. This fabric is a 36 count linen, which I don't normally stitch on because, again, I don't feel like it always has the fullest coverage. I feel like 2 threads is too much. I feel like 1 thread is not enough. But I went with it for this piece. So this is the fabric that I dyed for it. So my daughter, I let her kind of pick if she wanted like a gray blue kind of darky color, and she didn't. She wanted kind of more dark teal aqua with like some greens and purples in the sky for the Aurora Borealis that will be in the piece. And let me show you, actually. This is what the Arctic Animal Salve so far looks like. Okay, and we know there's also a narwhal, and there will be some puffins. But anyway, it's a bunch of Arctic animals, and the Aurora Borealis will be in it. So this will be the top of the piece. This will be the bottom. The first ones are Arctic fox and bulls, and they'll go about here on the fabric. So these 2 light pieces, I think what happened was it wasn't very dry when it took longer to get this color than I had thought. And so it was kind of late at night, and so I hung it up on a hanger before it had dried very much, and I think what happened is the color kind of transferred onto something else. But it looks like they will be mostly covered, these lighter spots, by stitching, and so I don't think it will matter. And I like this side better than this side. I like that the other side is darker. So anyway, so that will be a new start probably this weekend, because maybe on her birthday. Her birthday's Saturday, so maybe that's what I'll do. Her start on Saturday. She turns 20, so it can be my start for her. And then yeah, so that will be that. And then I dyed this piece of fabric. It's a big piece. And this is for a piece for my sister. It will be an ocean piece for her baby. She is pregnant with her first baby. And so I told her I would stitch her a birth sampler. It's an ocean themed birth sampler. And then there's two smaller pieces that go well, there's lots of smaller pieces, but I told her I'd stitch two smaller pieces. So she picked two out, and that's what those look like. So that I'll probably start. She lives in Canada, and so she's coming out the end of June through mid-July, and we're doing a baby shower for her. So my goal is to get at least one of those smaller pieces done for her before then, and hopefully both of the smaller pieces, and then work on that sampler throughout the summer, so that all I have to do is add the baby's information once she is born, and that will be in October. So let's see, and those were both new purchases. The ocean sampler comes from SofiaMBelenko on Etsy. And then I also bought water animals from the little stitcher. She was having a sale, so I bought water animals to go with the ornaments that I was making for my daughter. So she loves the otters, and the water animals has an otter, so check that out. And then I bought the I Am Brave from Emily Call. I might have already shown that one. I don't remember. But, and then let's see my other purchases. So in April was the Stitch West, the spring one. It was the first time that they've done a spring one, and Kristy from Java Girl Stitches and Anna were there, and Anna and I were talking about me meeting up with them, and she's so sweet. She brought me a gift. It's a little Ort bag that I can take. I plan on taking this with me in the car. It'll fit perfectly in like a cup holder, so I can just throw that. She sewed it herself. She did a fantastic job, and she was sick. She was so sick when she stitched this. Anna, you're so sweet. Thank you, thank you. I am so excited about this. But we met up at Shepherd's Bush because it was held in Ogden, and since my closer LNS closed, Pine Needles has some things, and they're getting more things, but Shepherd's Bush is the closest. So I got these blue scissors. They were a purchase inspired by Anna. She loves scissors, and so she bought them, and I thought I'd get a matching pair, and there were several of us that actually got a matching pair. I got some fabric for this one is for with a needle and thread. Here's a smoky Belfast linen. This one is Moon Glow by Picture This Plus, and this one is Orchid. I think it's just a regular. And what I'm kind of thinking about doing is I was planning on stitching the spring Quaker from Primrose Cottage on a color fabric and using white floss. And I was leaning towards the yellow, but their new summer piece, it's stitched in yellow. And they haven't released it yet, but they did show it on their Flosstube last week. And so this might be what I stitched the summer one on and then stitch the spring one on this one, because I haven't been able to decide. So they might have just decided for me. So good for them. And then I got some red and blue floss for the Patriotic Quaker. I bought the light yellow for something. I don't remember right now what it is. And then I thought this variegated blue brown was really cool that I could do the I Am Brave on it. So there's that one. So that was my Shepherd's Bush purchase. I bought so much stuff this time, guys. There's like 3 things, four trips of something. I got the Realist sunflower, I think they're sunflowers kit. No, they're daffodils. The Easter egg daffodil from Realist. And I would love that strawberry one too. I think it's super cute. So maybe if my sister can find the strawberry one, I'll get it too. But I have a couple of the others, so I need to start those. And my daughters just got home, so if you heard some noises, it's them. So then I bought an Easter Silver Creek sampler. What's the name? Oh, and the Earth Sing. It's on the back. So I'll be stitching that. I'll probably change the words to a blue. These actually were from Shepherd's Bush too. I forgot. That one was from 123 Stitch. These pieces were from Shepherd's Bush. They had some with by needle and thread pieces, and they're hard to find. So this one is Key to My Heart. This one is Be Ye Thankful. And I plan on stitching the house as the teal color and changing the yellow to the door. And then it's matching spring one. Hello Spring. Or 'Tis Spring. 'Tis Spring. And then I just need to get the winter one. I don't have the winter one, but I have the Patriotic 4th of July one. So those were also from Shepherd's Bush. Then for Mother's Day, my kids picked out You Are My Sunshine for Me by Shannon Christine. And then I bought from Erin Elizabeth Designs Made with Love for my gingerbread tree that I want to start. Then I'm trying to be fast. I also bought, these are my favorite pair of scissors. They're from they're Yarn Tree scissors, but I buy them on 123 Stitch. They're really inexpensive, but they're nice and sharp. And they're little and they cut really smoothly. They close smoothly, and I think that's what I love about them. And then also for Mother's Day, I got just that's more just plain fabric, but I want to try doing a patchwork, bag. And so I got some Patriotic mini charms. And these are the pieces that I got for the back and for the inside. and they're all coordinating, and I want to try to turn it into almost like a flag, so that the blues will be in the corner and then it'll have red and white stripes. So if you hear that stomping, that would probably be my youngest. She is tiny, or she's not tiny, she's tall, but she's super thin, but she stomps like everywhere. She just finished 8th grade, but still. Okay, and then my sister gave me the leftovers for these cute Easter ornaments, and the leftover flosses and things like that, so I can stitch that. I bought some plastic canvas for it. I bought a clear one and a white one, so anyway, then I can work on those at some point. Let's see my stats for April and May. Let's see. So I stitched every day in April. I was super impressed with myself. I kind of got 3/4 of the month through and realized I hadn't missed a day, and so then it became a game of like, I need to get every day. So in April I had 3 new starts, 2 finishes, 7 fully finishes because it was spring break. I had one of my 2 WIP goals met, and I did 15 hours on 24 hours of cross stitch. In May I had 2 new starts. I had 2 finishes, 1 fully finished, which was the Christmas piece. I stitched 26 of 31 days, and I met one of my 2 WIP goals. So anyway, those are my April and May stats. And my plans, kind of already talked about most of my plans. I'll be working on summer pieces, patriotic pieces, and I'll start my sister's birth samplers and my daughter's frosted pumpkin stitchery piece. The next release comes out next week, Thursday. So I definitely want to get most of that first one done, and I think I can do it. So anyway, hopefully I will be back in 3 to 4 weeks.